Hello guys, what is up? Bringing you a new video today. Today I will be ranking the retro reverse jerseys. I know a lot of people have done this, but I also wanted to do it too because I think some of these look really good, and I'll definitely consider buying some of them, especially the top ones, as you'll find on my list. So let's get started at number 31. Number 31, Detroit Red Wings. So I posted a comment on Cap Friendly, which if I can find it, I will put on the screen for you guys to see. And what I said was, it's like someone forgot that they had to do this until the last possible moment. How is this retro in any way? I get it's retro reverse, but what jersey was this retro and then they reversed it? So it doesn't mean the definition at all. If that's hard to understand, don't worry. And it's very bland. So, no creativity at all. Literally just white with a little bit of gray on the shoulders and then, or on their sleeves, and then just the regular Red Wings logo. So, no. I don't like this one at all. 30, New York Islanders. So I also said on Cap Friendly, a comment I wanted to mention was, this is the same jersey from 2006 to 11 or something like that, in the early 2000s, something like that. There's nothing changed about it. They didn't change anything. So I don't understand how this is how this really qualifies as a retro reverse. So 29, Blue Jackets. Now, I don't know if I'm the popular opinion on this. I've seen lots of reviews online about people that actually like this one. I don't. I've never liked the cribbage board logo. I think it makes no sense. Honestly, doing a cannon would probably be the closest possible good logo for the Blue Jackets. I don't really like their current one either. It doesn't make sense. And then the red. I don't usually like red on jerseys. There are some exceptions, as you'll find out later. But usually, for most teams, I don't like red. I think this could have looked better with, just the Blue Jackets blue rather than a red. That could have looked good. So it'd probably be higher if that was the case, but because it's not, I have to rank it 29. 28, the Lightning. Same thing as the Islanders. This isn't really changed too much from the 2000s jerseys. It's just same cartoon, kind of font on the logo and same colors. I don't really see what's changed about it. So yeah, it's not my favorite. So number 27, I have the Predators. Along with red, I also don't really like yellow on most jerseys, especially the yellow that they normally use. I'm okay with their modern ones, but their old logo matching with that yellow just doesn't mix at all. I wonder if they tried using the skull logo on the front instead of just on the shoulder. Because if they had, I think it could have looked really sick. But they didn't, so I have to rank it where it is. Number 26, the Panthers. I like the old logo, but I don't like the color scheme on this one. It's definitely not my favorite. I don't like the use of navy blue here. I think it kind of looks weird with the big cat. And then the gold, it looks wonky to me, and a little kind of it doesn't really fit the jersey. And then the red, there's just something kind of wrong with the whole jersey. I don't know why. There's just something about it that I just can't rank it any higher. Number 25, Stars. This is not a bad jersey. I think it actually kind of looks decent. However, if you were going to do the color scheme that they did for this one, they shouldn't have used the logo that they did, because you can barely see it. I know, Dallas Stars, they should have at least switched out the colors for the fonts on the logo to make it more noticeable. Other than that, it's an okay jersey. It's just meh, no creativity, and there are a lot of things they could have done with that jersey to make it look really good. So number 24, I have the Ducks. You know, I've always been a fan of crazy jerseys, but I've never really liked this one. I think it's too crazy. The logo is far too low to the right. It's way too cartoony. And I think this would have looked better if they had just used the original Wild Wing logo rather than this one. I think it would have looked really good, but they didn't. So yeah, like I would buy one just because it looks so cartoony and cool. It's kind of like a jersey that you don't really think would be in the NHL kind of thing. But number 23, I have the Boston Bruins. And this team is kind of a victim in some ways of they've been like in so many special games that they've had to come up with so many new jerseys, and their logo you can only make so many variations for it, and they haven't had many variations over the years. So they could have their shoulder patch bear looked really cool. I wonder if they tried putting that on the front. I understand that it's never a logo they've used in the past, but that with that color scheme could have looked way better than the logo that they use, which just looks 50s, which I understand. But, you know, there's just nothing special about it. So that's why I rank it here. Here I have the Leafs next, and it's mainly because of the logo. I really don't like it. And it's because it's so bloated. It's like, picture a logo that's pregnant. And that's kind of what you get with the Leafs logo. It's just so bloated and big that it looks just really weird and gross and nothing like any of the other logos they've ever had. And then I don't think on the shoulders the half white, half blue really works. Next I have the Flames. So the Flames, I think their color scheme here was one of the best out of all the retro reverse jerseys. If they had used the regular flaming toilet seat logo, then I would definitely rank this higher. But I'm not a big fan of the flaming horse, so that's why I rank it as low as it is. So next I have the Canucks. Now, the Canucks, as you know, are my favorite team. I think this looks pretty good overall. I've always liked the blue and green. It's one of my favorite jersey combinations. And Grady was risky, but I think it could have worked out here if the logo was a bit smaller or they had done the Grady a bit lower. Doing the Grady right where the logo is means that you can't really see it, and then it just looks really stupid. I'm not gonna lie. So I didn't really like the original version of this. It does look better with this color scheme, but not good enough that I can't rank it, or that I can rank it higher. Next, I have the Oilers. Now, the Oilers, I think they actually had a really good jersey here. They haven't really had any logo variations over the years, so they don't really have an old one they could throw on here. And so, for those reasons, their sweater is kind of a new one rather than a retro reverse, per se. So, while it doesn't really meet the definition, I think it looks really good. So that's why I have it here. Next, I have the Coyotes. A lot of people like this one, and I didn't really know why. I like the logo, and I think the desert, like the whole desert, kind of like what is it? Like hip patch almost. I think that's really creative, and it looks good. But purple. Now, that works with the Kings, as you'll find out later, and basketball. That's about it. It doesn't work here. So, yeah, that's why I don't have any higher. Capitals. Another example of a team that doesn't really work with red, or this jersey in particular. Their current ones work pretty well with red. I really like the Eagle logo. I feel like they should modernize it and then bring it back and replace their old one. The shoulder patch looks really good. The back looks pretty solid. I do like red. I've always liked red, black, and white together, and I think they pulled that together really nicely. But red I'm not picturing red. I'm picturing the old jerseys, which I feel like is not the idea. So it's pretty tough here. I don't know if you use this jersey per se, like this particular jersey, because if you use, like white, then it kind of it's basically the same as your old one, just taking away just a few details. So I don't really know how I would fix this one, but I just don't like it with the red. 15, I have the Penguins. This one for me is screams retro reverse. Mario Lemieux wore it, so credibility, and then obviously Snoop Dogg supported or sported the style, so they got celebrities on their side there. They could have used better colors. I originally thought like baby blue here, like what they've done for the Winter Classic. I think that would kind of look really weird with their current Pittsburgh, but to me it screams retro, like Pittsburgh Pirates kind of retro. It's pretty plain and it's not really creative though, which is why I have it only like halfway up the list. Next I have the Blackhawks. Now I like this jersey. There's nothing in particular wrong with it, honestly. And I like the color scheme. As I said, red, black, and white. Except I think they did it better than the Capitals. But their logo right now is kind of already having problems, especially in light of the Black Lives Matter movement. So I don't know if using their old logo would really make it any better. Say Sharks. So overall, they're just kind of, it's a meh jersey. I like their current logo better, and I don't like really the use of gray here. And while it doesn't really speak to me, there's also nothing wrong with it. So next I have the Blues, and the Blues they're interesting. They're a perfect representation of retro reverse. Take an old jersey and switch up the color scheme with each other. And the only result is that it doesn't look good. I like the original one, but I don't like the red with the blue there. It just doesn't work with, and then also the yellow outline on the logo. All of that combined just doesn't make a good logo or jersey. Sorry. Next, I have the Golden Knights. I know a lot of people really didn't like the Golden Knights one. I think it looks great, and this is considering that Vegas was at a really severe disadvantage. Considering they're only 3 years old, they don't really have anything retro to use. And so using their same logo would kind of make it too similar to their current jerseys, which is why they use the sort of one, which I think is okay. It's not my favorite for a main logo. You obviously prefer it as a shoulder logo. That's where it fits. But they didn't really have any other logos to use, so that's what they did. I think they made it look great. I like the use of red here, especially with the arms, gray, gold, and black. I think that's just a great jersey. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I do, especially considering their disadvantage, as I said before. Next, I have the Devils. A lot of people have this higher than I do, but I don't really know why. Yeah, it's another perfect representation of retro reverse. Take an old jersey, switch up the color scheme. But I don't like it. It's pretty ironic that a Christmas theme for a team called the Devils. I haven't really liked red and green originally. I think it looks slightly better here than the red main and then the green hip part. So I also don't like the green outline on the Devils logo. I don't like it. There's just too many things wrong with this jersey that I can't place it higher. Next, I have the Jets. Yeah, so the Jets, I think this one looks good. It could have looked even better. They did make some updates to the logo, which I think looked pretty cool. I think they could have been more creative with the gray. I think the Jets have some of the best jerseys in NHL history, honestly. Their 80s one, their Heritage Classic, all those jerseys with this logo, I think have looked really sick. And they just look great, but this one is a little underwhelming. Next, I have the Flyers here. So Flyers, it's not great for a retro reverse jersey in particular, but I do like it as just a jersey. My favorite color is orange, so that's probably part of it. But I think the orange really goes well with the black and the white. And they also chose a good shade of orange, which I think is pretty important because I think some jerseys have kind of failed just because you didn't choose the right like perfect shade of it. Next, we have I have the Sabres, which if they had used their Buffalo one with the horns and the angry eye, this would be probably in my top 5 easy. This color scheme, I love it. It's beautiful. One of the best I've seen on a jersey. Love the hip like buffalo, but the sword logo, it fits it really well, but it just doesn't work for a main logo. If they had used their other logo with that color scheme, you got one of the best jerseys probably ever. I love this jersey, but the logo really drags it down. Next, I have the Rangers. Now, the Rangers, they went very safe, very cautious, but with a team as iconic as them, like one-run move, and that could have gone really sideways. So they chose to go safe, and they didn't really change it from the original 90s version. But I love the color scheme, and I love the logo. So it's good enough to be as high as it is. Number 6, I have the Senators. Not really any change, like not any major significant changes from their new update on their logo and uniforms and everything. If they had done it a bit earlier before they did the update, this would probably be higher because it would look like more creative. But this red jersey's sick. Like, there's a bit too much red. Like, just a wee bit too much. Other than that, though, love the logo. Way better than the one that they had before they did the update. And I love the shade of red that it shows, like a nice little blood red there. And it's the best red jersey I have on this list. Okay, there might be a little controversy about that later. But, so, after the Senators, I have the Wild, not the Wild. Next, I have the Hurricanes, which I could have easily put them higher, but that just goes to show just how good some of these jerseys are. So I really like the color scheme, and obviously the logo, the Hartford Whalers logo is iconic. I don't really need to explain why that logo works. The gray works really well with the blue, white, and green. I particularly like the shade of green that they chose. It matches, like, it's obviously the same one as the logo, but I love it on the logo, so I love it on the jersey too. Like Carolina base kind of has an advantage just because they have that Hartford stuff at their disposal. If they hadn't used Hartford, this would probably be dead last just because of that overlook. But they did. They were smart enough to do it, so it worked. Next, I have the Minnesota Wild. So this is kind of another perfect definition, like a slightly different definition of Minnesota, of retro reverse. It's a perfect kind of like Minnesota Wild current jersey combined with North Stars colors. I would have loved maybe to switch it around and use the North Stars jersey, but with Minnesota, like with Wild colors. I think that could have looked really good, but this looks awesome too. That logo, like the Wild's logo, is one of the best ever, like sports logos ever in my opinion. I really love it. And I really like the North Stars color scheme. I think it's one of the better ones that we've seen in hockey history. So I think it looks beautiful, like awesome. Next, number 3, I have the Montreal Canadiens. Like another perfect retro reverse. Just switcheroonie. Their current one, they didn't really go back in time. It would have been a lot more retro reversey, like if they had used their older variation of the Canadiens logo. But other than that, it looks great. I think the blue looks really sharp. I was a little worried that fans might not like it because that jersey is so iconic that the Canadiens are another such team where it's like you mess it up just a little bit and fans are gonna hate it. But they knocked it out of the park. It looks great. They didn't have to do really much to get it to work, but they still did, so it worked. Down to the final 2 now. We got the LA Kings at number 2. Looks like take the 90s era Kings jersey and put it in like the best Kings color scheme we've ever had, like before Gretzky came. I know that they changed it from the yellow purple because not only did they need a redo, but they were kind of being overshadowed by the Lakers, who they seem to be trying to copy. And so, they strayed around away from that so that they could kind of become more of their own team, which is great. But you know, it looks really good. The purple and gold, as I said earlier with the Coyotes purple, it didn't really work there. This is the only NHL team where I think I've seen it work. It works really well with the old Kings logo. If they, I was like, the crown, I'm glad that they didn't use that because that would have been way too much like their old jersey, which basically looked like this except for with the crown. And honestly, it's better than their current jersey. Now, number one, you guys have probably figured it out. Yes, it is the Colorado Avalanche at number one here. It just looks so good. Beautiful. So, obviously, Quebec Nordiques, it's loved. Igloo logo and Fleur de Lis as the, hip patch. It's good that they remember that, and it looks absolutely beautiful in Avalanche colors. People have been asking for this for forever, and there's a reason for it. It looks absolutely amazing. So, yeah, guys, that's going to do it for my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.